1988 gave rock one of its defining chapters. From soaring ballads to full-throttle anthems, these tracks capture a year we'll always remember. Here are 15 songs that lit up the airwaves, shaped a generation, and still land with force today. Number 15, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. Rehearsal started with a throwaway warm-up that snapped into focus. A melody took shape in a cramped Los Angeles house, then followed the band into Rumbo Recorders, where producer Mike Klink kept the tape rolling and let the idea grow. By June 1988, the single was on every dial. The video looped on MTV, and after-school TV felt like a window into a packed arena. Tracking locked around that chiming figure, layered guitars, and a vocal Axl Rose aimed at a real name in his notebook. The take carried the lift of a room playing in unison, no frills, just a hook that fit stadium rafters and parking lot radios. One pick scrape and the year returns. Curbside speakers, friends leaning on car hoods, city lights catching chrome. The chorus still moves like a signal you recognize at once, the kind that turns a summer into a keepsake. Number 14, Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. A late-night phone call landed hard. In a quiet laundromat, lines spilled onto a scrap of paper while the dryers turned and the room hummed.
Was it something I said or something I did? My words not come out.
That spur-of-the-moment confession moved from notebook to studio schedule, then to radio request lines that never cooled. School dances, roller rinks, and after-hours diners kept the same ballad in steady rotation through fall '88. And by December, the glow of lighters and slow circles on gym floors felt like one long shared memory. Recorded at Conway Recording Studios in Los Angeles with producer Tom Werman for Open Up and Say, Ah. The track kept the arrangement spare. Acoustic foundation, clean electric swells, and a vocal aimed at the center.
Though it's been a while now, I can still feel so much pain.
Released in October 1988, it rose to number 1 by Christmas week and settled into wedding set lists and late-night dedications. Hear it now and the year returns like a postcard. Creased corners, ink smudge, a promise you can still read.
Every rose has its thorn.
Number 13, Love Bites by Def Leppard. By early September 1988, weekend countdowns crowned a new number 1 and slow dances found their anthem. MTV leaned into close-ups and soft spotlights. Record stores slid the single to the front, and late-night request lines filled with dedications.
Do you tell liars and say that it's forever?
The year had room for big riffs and bigger feelings, and this one threaded both into school gyms, mall atriums, and prom memories that still linger. In the studio, producer Robert John Mutt Lang walked in with a title and a skeleton that the band reshaped during the long Hysteria run in Dublin and the Netherlands. Stacked harmonies rose take by take, clean guitars interlocked like scaffolding, and Rick Allen's crisp pulse held the center. The arrangement left air for the hook to land and stay there. One bar in and the year snaps back. Floor varnish and hairspray in the air, a corsage pin tugging your sleeve, and a mirror ball scattering borrowed stars across the ceiling. Number 12, Bad Medicine by Bon Jovi. Little Mountain Sound in Vancouver buzzed the day the chorus snapped into place. Desmond Child sat in with John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora. Bruce Fairbairn steered the session, and Bob Rock worked the board until the hook felt stadium ready. Mercury wanted a lead single that moved right away, so the fall release hit radio with intent and climbed through October. By November 1988, it was sitting at number 1, and Friday night countdowns treated it like the week's green light. In the room, the parts locked quickly, chant-friendly backing vocals, a crisp 4 on the floor, and guitars stacked to lift the refrain. The Wayne Isham video handed camcorders to fans and turned a performance into a rush of faces, which kept MTV looping it all season. Let the count-in crack and you can feel confetti underfoot, a paper wristband against your skin, and a stadium of voices firing the refrain like a home team chant. Number 11, Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. Wembley's Mandela 70th birthday tribute fell quiet as one voice and a guitar took the spotlight. Camera crews focused on a single stool, the crowd leaned in, and millions at home felt the room change.
Just a little bit of money, we won't have to drive too far. Just cross the border and into
By Monday morning, record stores were ringing up the album, and summer radio made space between the arena anthems for a story carried by a new voice.
so fast, I felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us.
The chorus landed like a whispered plan, and long drives suddenly had a companion.
Remember when we were driving in your car. Streets so fast, I felt like I
The single arrived in April as part of a debut produced by David Kirschenbaum for Elektra. Word of mouth moved it from college stations to national countdowns, and by late summer, it sat in the US top 10.
had a feeling that I belonged.
The arrangement stays lean, guitar and hand percussion guiding a steady pulse while the vocal sketches a way forward. One listen, and the dashboard becomes a notebook, headlights tracing the outline of the life you meant to build.
I had a feeling I could be someone.
Before we cross into the top 10, a quick check-in. Which 1988 rock track drops you straight back to a specific moment or person? Is there a song you'd move higher, or one we still haven't touched? What was your first tape, CD, or radio memory from '88? Share it below. We're reading every comment. Number 10, Cult of Personality by Living Colour. Club crowds and college stations picked up a 3-word chant from a New York quartet. MTV rotated the bright suits and newsreel faces, and by back-to-school season, the chorus carried through gyms, skate shops, and festival fields. Rock radio slotted it alongside the year's biggest singles, and audiences knew the call before the house lights dimmed. A line that began in city rooms turned into a national rally you could hear from the concourse before a show. In the studio, producer Ed Stasium pushed for economy. Hook first, rhythm locked, vocal up front. Vernon Reid drove the riff, while Corey Glover commanded center stage. With Will Calhoun and Muzz Skillings pinning the groove tight, the video stitched historic figures into the frame and gave the message a familiar face. Awards followed, and the first impact belongs to Packed Nights and Wall-to-Wall Radio, a title that draws an answer the moment you speak it. Number 9, Desire by U2. Fall playlists shifted when a lean new single announced the next chapter of an album and film rollout. Island pushed copies to shop counters, MTV premiered the clip, and weekend countdowns echoed the title across car stereos and campus stations.
She's a candle burning in my room. I'm like a
With Within weeks, it reached the top of the UK singles chart. Arena doors opened to a fresh opener the crowd could shout from the first cue, and drive time DJs leaned on it to launch their sets. In the studio at STS in Dublin, Jimmy Iovine kept the arrangement spare and direct, building on a Bo Diddley pulse with hand claps, harmonica, and a sharp backbeat. The September 19, 1988 release framed the groove up front and let the vocal ride the pocket. Awards and poll wins arrived soon after. The image that stays is a snare crack, a surge to the rail, and a chant rolling like a drum line down the hall. Number 8, The Flame by Cheap Trick. Epic slid a cassette across the desk with a new ballad from British writers Bob Mitchell and Nick Graham. The band took the assignment into the lap of luxury sessions, and radio soon had a fresh slow dance in heavy rotation. The video's candlelit stage and long camera moves fit the late-night mood on MTV, and weekend countdowns leaned on the chorus through June and July. By midsummer, prom halls, summer fairs, and mall food courts seemed to share the same final song of the night. Producer Richie Zito centered the track on Robin Zander's clear vocal, layered guitars that rise in waves, and a rhythm section that keeps the pulse unhurried. Release timing did the rest. Spring ad dates, steady phone requests, and a climb that reached number 1 in July 1988. 2 notes in and you can smell warm candle wax and punch. Folding chairs begin to scrape the floor, and a photo booth strip curls in a jacket pocket as the last sway refuses to end. Number 7, I Hate Myself for Loving You by Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts. Midsummer airwaves turned drive time into a sing-along as a blunt title jumped from jukeboxes to afternoon playlists. The lead single from Up Your Alley moved through pep rallies, bar rooms, and TV bumpers, and by August, it sat inside the U.S. Top 10. Autumn added a Grammy nomination, and the refrain kept trailing out of car windows and stadium speakers on Sunday nights. Sessions at the Hit Factory in New York kept the edges sharp under producers Desmond Child and Kenny Laguna. Former Rolling Stones guitarist Mick Taylor stepped in and carved the solo, while the band locked a stomp that made the hook feel like a chant. Released on Blackheart, the track carries snarl for bleachers and polish for countdowns. 2 bars light the memory: neon on wet pavement, a cracked booth at closing time, and a chorus that lands like a fist on the table. Number 6, Devil Inside by INXS. Boardwalk Neon and Fast Cuts turned a 3-minute clip into appointment viewing on MTV. Spring playlists folded the single into drive time and club nights, and weekend crowds echoed the title before the first verse landed. By April, it was sitting at number 2 on the Hot 100, the kind of rise that pins a season to a sound. Friday plans, beach traffic, and city lights flashing by the passenger window. The record grew out of the Kick sessions with producer Chris Thomas, tracked at Rhinoceros Studios in Sydney, and finished at Studio de la Grande Armée in Paris. Andrew Ferris brought in a taut groove, the arrangement stayed lean, and Michael Hutchence rode the pocket with a vocal built to carry across a room. Released in February 1988, it settled into parties, radio blocks, and arena intros. Hit the first downbeat and you can taste ocean spray, feel joystick calluses from the arcade, and watch the chorus ripple along the pier like neon stitched to the surf. Let's take a quick pause before we hit the final five. Which 1988 track pulled a memory into focus the moment it started? Is there a song you'd bump higher, or one we've overlooked entirely? Where did you first hear one of these? A car stereo, a school dance, or MTV after dark? Who were you with when it became your song? Number 5, Where Is My Mind by Pixies. College dorm stereos in 1988 turned a deep cut into a secret handshake. Posters curled on brick walls, campus stations kept it in nightly rotation, and small clubs felt the floorboards move when the first notes arrived. The song traveled by word of mouth, the kind that passes from mixtape to roommate to weekend drive. Years later, it would echo through movie theaters and TV syncs. But the bond started with late nights, open windows, and friends who knew exactly when to turn it up. The idea came from a scuba dive in the Caribbean that stuck in Black Francis's head until it became a chorus. Sessions with Steve Albini at Q Division Studios in Boston captured the group with air around the instruments and plenty of room for Kim Deal's harmonies to drift. Released on Surfer Rosa in 1988, it grew into an anthem that felt personal, like a note scribbled in a campus notebook and kept forever. Number 4, Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. Record shop windows turned heads first. The album's cover courted a little controversy, and curious listeners carried that image straight to campus apartments and late-night hangouts. MTV's 120 Minutes slipped the track between underground favorites, and word of mouth did the rest. Dorm courtyards, thrift store couches, and back porch conversations started sharing the same refrain. A local Los Angeles snapshot began to feel like everybody's late-night story. In the studio, producer Dave Jordan kept the frame unadorned at El Dorado and Track Record, letting the song breathe on 2 steady chords. Perry Farrell drew from Jane Bainter's world, Eric Avery's pulse set the ground, and Stephen Perkins's steel drum colors lifted the edges without crowding the room. Issued in 1988, it settled onto college playlists and into sets where crowds kept time on the rail. A few opening bars and the city comes back. Beads clicking in a doorway, warm air in the alley, voices drifting up a staircase. Number 3, Under the Milky Way by The Church.
Sometimes when this place gets kind of empty.
After midnight, radio found a companion for empty streets and drifting headlights. College stations saved it for the quiet shift, when coffee steamed on the console and callers asked for something that suited empty streets. Windows stayed cracked, headlights drew thin lines on the asphalt, and the chorus felt like a note passed between friends who didn't need many words.
Wish I knew what you were looking for.
It lived in those small hours, a soundtrack for drives that wandered on purpose. Cut in Los Angeles during the Starfish sessions with producers Waddy Wachtel and Greg Ladagny, the single arrived on February 15, 1988. A mid-song figure, E-bow on a Fender Jazzmaster, captured through a synclavier, gave the track its unmistakable halo. It reached number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100 and later earned Area Single of the Year.
Something quite peculiar.
Let that E-bow line linger, and midnight opens wide, an empty road, cracked windows, and a sky that seems to hold its breath.
don't know what you were about.
Number 2, Handle with Care by Traveling Wilburys.
Being beat up and battered around, being sent up and
A last-minute hunt for a B-side brought 5 heavyweights to a garage in Malibu, and a supergroup took its first breath. Weekend record runs turned into treasure hunts for the new single, and MTV spun the video like a late-night postcard from a dream team.
I'm so tired of being lonely. I still have
All radio gave it prime real estate, and listeners learned the handoffs by heart, one verse to the next, like friends passing a story around a table. The spark sat on a cardboard box stamped with 3 words. Titles sometimes choose the writer.
Everybody's got somebody to leave.
Basic tracks rolled on Bob Dylan's home rig on April 5, 1988, with overdubs to follow and production credited under Wilbury aliases. Released in mid-October, it nudged the Hot 100, hit number 2 at Album Rock, and climbed into the top 5 in Australia and New Zealand.
It's commercial life, and don't need with care.
Let the first chord tumble, and you can almost smell tape glue and sawdust in that Malibu garage. 5 voices trading smiles while the Pacific murmurs just beyond the cracked door. Number 1, Orange Crush by R.E.M. Studio lights stayed low at Ardent in Memphis, while takes clicked by and a clipped march found its shape. Scott Litt kept the room focused. The band leaned into a leaner, harder edge, and notebooks filled with fragments that pointed toward one blunt idea.
Got my spine, I've got my orange crush.
A major label debut needed a clear first signal, and this became it. Urgent, disciplined, built to carry across campus lawns and late-night radio blocks. The rollout favored stark imagery, black and white frames, drill fields, and helmeted silhouettes that matched the song's steady cadence. College stations put it in heavy rotation, modern rock playlists gave it a lane, and flyers on corkboards turned the title into shorthand for the moment.
Had my fun, now it's time to sell your country.
On stage, a bullhorn often heightened the message while the rhythm section kept the march unbroken. 2 snare hits, and the room sharpens. Rain ticking on the sill, the low hum of a CRT, and a bullhorn phrase cutting the air like a warning flare.